What's going on, guys? It's UrAvgConsumer, and today we're going to be spending a real day in the life with the Oppo Find X. Now, if you've never seen one of my real day in the life videos, you're pretty much going to be spending a full day with me and the Find X, and we're going to see how it performs, the battery life, we're going to put it through its paces, and of course, we got to see how that new flip-up camera works. But let's check out how it did. Alright guys, so we are starting our day with the Oppo Find X, and I will just say this is one of the most beautiful phones to come out, if not the most beautiful phone to come out in my honest opinion. But we're starting off our day. It's 10:52 right now. I've been using a teeny bit. We've got about 96% left of battery. And we're gonna talk about this thing and see how it lasts all day, all that good stuff. But one thing, I'm gonna start off the video saying this is a very, very scary phone to use because it's super thin and it is super slippery, probably the most slippery phone I've ever used. So I'm a little worried about today. It scares me to the point where I feel like daily usage puts this thing at risk without a case. I mean, look at this thing, guys. I think this is easily the most beautiful phone out, probably even ever made in my opinion. This thing is just amazing to look at. And then that screen, the screen is really nice. Let me see if I can unlock it. And y'all saw that, y'all saw the camera pop up, but it's an all display screen. It's got the tiniest of bezels at the bottom, but this thing just looks so good. It's missing a few things though. With a body like this, you would think it would have wireless charging, but it doesn't, so that kind of sucks. And waterproofing, you know, is not gonna happen because that camera, check this out. Ain't no way to waterproof that, folks. And now guys, we are actually about to head out and go and check out a potential, this is a top secret, potential new studio space. Maybe we might move the office. Got a couple of new people on board, so we're gonna see what that's like. But I'll make sure to grab some pictures with the Find X. All right guys, so right now we got the GPS going, but the slipperiness of this phone is actually coming into play right now because this holder that I'm using, it has no bottom to secure it. So it's just using the sides and the clamping grip, but it is slipping right through. I can see the phone sliding downward. So I'm gonna have to switch over to the iAudi that I typically use because this has like the bottom to hold it. I really didn't think that the slipperiness would come into play this much, but it is. But just to give you guys a quick battery update, we're looking at 86%. We still got 18 minutes of driving left to do, so I'll let you guys know what the update is after that. All right guys, so we just got to our destination, and in terms of battery, we're looking at 82%. And let's see if I can pull up some stats here. Am I not gonna be able to see the screen on time? You know, these UIs have different settings, so I don't know if I'll be able to see screen on time. Okay, and we have a wild cookie over here. That is crazy. But I'm gonna keep looking for this setting, but I gotta jump into this meeting with the new spot. Okay guys, so we wrapped up the meeting, checked out a potential new space for the studio, and I did take a lot of video and photos. And for those of you who aren't familiar with the Oppo Find X, the camera has a really cool pop-out feature there. So when you wanna use the camera, you'll notice that there's none on the back until you hit the camera app, and then you'll see it pop right up. So that's a really awesome feature with the Oppo Find X. That's what helps it to look really futuristic, and I really like it. Now, the concern that I have with this, when I was shooting everything, I would hold the phone like this, and then I would feel this slightest wiggle. I don't know if you guys can see that here, but I would feel this thing wiggle. So that's something you gotta keep in mind. If you're looking for really stable photos, you can actually physically move the camera. So you're not only worrying about keeping it straight here, but you're also keeping it here. And what I also noticed is, I'm not sure if this has image stabilization, optical image stabilization, but it felt like my videos were shaking quite a bit. So I'm going to see right now how it looks on camera. So this doesn't look as bad as I thought it did. So that is a really good thing, but I'm not sure. I'll put a Judd Says right here so you guys can know if it does or doesn't. But I was a bit concerned when I saw the actual video being shot. It looked like it was jumpy, so I thought there was no stabilization. But with all of that shooting, we do have 74% battery left, and it is what, 224? So not bad. It's been holding up pretty well. We've been using it since what, 10 in the morning. So that's actually pretty good battery life. This has a 3700 milliamp hour battery. I think it's 3730. So it's on the higher end, not quite 4000, but it's up there. All right, so we're back home, but while we're on the topic of cameras, Cookie, come here. She just got groomed. Check her out. Cookie, say what's up. Give 5. Yeah, all right, so come here. Let's take a picture. All right, sit. Yeah, good girl. Okay, so we got a couple of pictures. Let's take a look at them. It's not a bad photo, a little bit overexposed up top. For the most part, it's not bad though. Not super sharp or anything, but it'll get the job done. Not the best camera I've seen out there, but you know, definitely gets the job done. So in terms of camera quality, this thing definitely gets a pass, takes good shots. Not the best that I've seen out there, doesn't compete with something like the Note 9 or the Pixel XL, but definitely does get the job done. So we're back in the studio. I know we've been jumping around a lot, but we're back here. We had to get some work done still. But I was just sitting here looking to see if I can find the screen on time for the Oppo Find X. So the Color OS skin, it doesn't have screen on time, so I can't tell you guys that. But more importantly, I know I'm beating a dead horse here, but I'd like you to just take a look at this phone right now. Do you guys see that? It's moving by itself. The thing started off over here on this side of the mouse pad. So it found its way over here. And this is not the first time this has happened. I've had it on the coffee table that I have over here. Just randomly hear a slip and fall. And I'm like, oh, why is it on the floor? Because it's so slippery, guys. So if you pick up this phone or plan to pick it up, the slipperiness it's a big deal. You gotta throw a case on this guy because the glass back too, if this thing were to fall this way and hit the floor, who knows what would happen? So you gotta be really mindful of that. Look at this. It's just moving on its own. So it's about 10:17. We've got 43% battery left. And I'll be honest, the later half of the day I spent doing a lot of work. So I wasn't really on the phone that much. But so we still got a good amount of battery left. So if you're not a heavy user, someone who's not going to be on their phone 24/7, you have an idea of just how much battery you have left. And this is with taking photos, running around, doing all kinds of stuff, using the GPS. So a good bit of usage here. I wish I could tell you guys the screen on time, but this thing doesn't measure it. But so far the battery life has been really solid. But there are a couple of things I want to talk about in terms of the overall UI. Now, I'm not a fan of this Color OS. I do wish that it had a bit more flexibility. One thing that I'm seeing here that you can't access is you can't even change the wallpaper right from the screen. This is like basic Android right here, where you can hold down the home screen and you get to change up the wallpaper, add widgets, all that kind of stuff. You just can't do that here. If I go into something like Nova Launcher, you see that kind of flexibility right there. So I can add wallpapers, widgets, all that kind of stuff. But you're not even able to change the default launcher, which is really frustrating. So you're pretty much stuck with what they give you. And man, it's just super disappointing. So if you want to go ahead and change your wallpaper, you have to go into something like your Photos app, hit set as, and then do it from there. And that's just a little too much for my book. I just wish it were a bit easier. I don't know, just really weird roadblocks there. Overall though, the skin isn't that bad. It's pretty standard stuff. Going into the settings, it's okay. But you guys have seen throughout the day that just certain things you can't access at a whim, which I find pretty unfortunate. And guys, check this out. Something else I've been noticing, and I don't know if it's going to show up well on camera, is if you tilt the phone, you can see a big shift in terms of the color. It definitely goes super warm or to this like pinkish color whenever you tilt it back. Now, people used to complain about this on the Pixel XL, the Pixel 2 XL, and I didn't really see a big deal with that, especially since it wasn't noticeable to me unless people spoke about it. But this one, as soon as I got this in hand, the second I tilted it, I noticed immediately that shift, that magenta shift, which just, I don't think is okay at the price range that this thing comes in. So if you're sensitive to that shift in color, you'll definitely notice it here, especially on anything with a white background. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Did I mention this phone is pretty though? Look at this thing. And that was pretty much the day, guys. Now, I'll say this again and again. This is probably the most beautiful phone that I've ever seen. In terms of the design and the concept, I am absolutely in love with this phone. And that motorized pop-up camera is really, really cool. I think it's an ingenious way of hiding that and also allowing us to have a full screen display. And it's really just a cool party trick to show someone who's never seen a phone like this before how the camera pops out. It's really, really awesome, but it does have its faults. Within my first day of using it, I had a ton of dust and lint rolled up inside of there. So that's going to accumulate over time as you keep your phone in your pocket or anything like that. So you are gonna have to be vigilant in wiping it off and making sure it stays clean. And the only other gripe I have with this pop-out camera is that it is a little shaky. So if you're someone who tends to hold the corners of your phone when taking a picture, there is a chance that you might shake the camera and that could result in a blurry shot, or even some shake in your footage if you're recording a video. But the phone does have optical image stabilization, which should help, but being able to shake the camera like that does introduce another element that could ruin your footage or shots. Still though, I will say guys, I love the innovation here. This is just an amazing concept. I love the phone. And it's more than just a concept. It's an actual phone. You can actually go out and buy it. But I'll be honest with you guys, I don't think it's ready for mainstream just yet. Performance-wise, it performs just as well as any other phone that you have out right now. It's got flagship specs, great battery life. It lasted me even longer than the day that I was using it. So it spilled over to 2 days with moderate usage, but it's still just not completely perfect, even though it performs really well. Like you guys saw throughout the entire day, I was dealing with how slippery it was. This is a phone that absolutely needs a case. I don't care who you are and how careful you are. This phone needs a case if you don't want to babysit it 24/7. Now, when it comes to the software, it is running Android, but it's using the ColorOS skin. That's Oppo's skin. And I gotta say, I'm not really too crazy about this. It seems they lock you out of a lot of things that should just be normal. Being able to change your wallpaper right from the home screen, you kind of lose that functionality unless you go into certain settings or you go into your Photos app. Not crazy about that at all. I don't know why they would even take that away, but it just kind of sucks that you gotta go do this roundabout things just to do something that's the most basic part of Android. They also don't allow you to use different launchers. So if you like Nova launcher or maybe even the Google launcher, you're not gonna be able to just switch it out. You have to use the launcher that it comes with. And to me, that sucks, because I feel like a lot of issues that I had with the software would be okay if I at least could use a different launcher. So the fact that they took that away is just mind-boggling. So I do hope that they fix that with a future update or something, but that functionality should definitely be there and not locked away. Now, when it comes to the camera quality, I definitely think that it takes some decent photos. Definitely nothing mind-blowing, not to me anyway. The front-facing camera tend to overexpose a lot of the shots that I took with it. So a lot of the selfies that I took came out a bit overexposed, but the rear camera definitely got some nice shots out of it. It's what I use to take all the shots of this new space that I'm checking out, and those came out very nice and clear. So overall, I definitely think this thing's got a decent camera. And one thing that's pretty cool is that the camera has AI built into it, so that when you take a picture of something, it'll identify it. So if you're taking a picture of an indoor location like I was, it actually says it right on the screen. Or if you're taking a picture of a pet or something, it'll do the same. So that's actually a pretty cool feature. How much these AI features usually benefit these phones, I honestly don't know, but they say it does help, and it's actually able to identify what it takes a picture of, so that's good. But I pretty much gave you guys what I think of the phone overall. Like I said, I do think that it is a very innovative phone. It is the best looking phone that I've ever seen, but it does have its quirks. I don't think the motorized system is completely perfect just yet. I wish it were a bit more rigid and didn't shake or move whenever you kind of held it. Also, the dust that gets around that area, not that good. Definitely don't want dust around your camera lens, so that's something that also needs to be worked on, maybe like a better seal. I also wish this thing had wireless charging. You would think with that kind of back that it would be able to do it, but that's also a feature that's missing. Don't even think about water resistance, because with this design, it's not possible. And while it's got that beautiful, beautiful screen that content looks so good on, it's got that weird color shift that happens where it gets really pink. Like I said, never used to be an issue for me, wasn't even an issue with the Pixel. But for this phone, it's actually pretty drastic and it happens really quickly. And guys, I really don't want it to seem like I'm just crapping all over this phone, because I honestly love this phone. I love the way it looks. I love everything about it. But like I said, it still has its quirks, and that's why I don't think it's ready for mainstream. But if they can fix some of those issues, I think this can be a really killer phone. Honestly, like I said, it is the best looking phone I've ever seen so far. The cool functionality that you get out of that pop-up screen, I love everything about it. I just wish the actual hardware just worked a little bit better. But that about wraps it up for this video, guys. The Oppo Find X is the coolest phone out so far, at least in my opinion. I just wish that certain things were a bit better on it so that everyday people could enjoy it. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, be the cool guy or girl that gives this video a thumbs up, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Oppo Find X2 or whatever you're gonna call it, just fix those issues and you got a killer phone, a really killer phone. Peace.